Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben, that's Josh, and we are alive and well. I know it's been a long week for many of us, especially many of you that are in the States. So hopefully we're bringing a little lightheartedness to your week and the craziness that has been in this world. But I will say, before I ask Josh how he's doing, America has once again defeated Great Britain. Okay, it might have been America. It might have been Hungary with American coaches, but you know what? I'm going to take the win, okay? We beat Great Britain 21-7, so I'm going to take the win, even though I had nothing to do with it outside of just coaching special teams, and we missed a field goal. So I had literally nothing to do with it, but I'm going to take the victory where I can. And yeah, that's kind of how I feel right now. Another victory for America over Great Britain. Josh, how are you doing?
Hey, doing good. Let's see. It is 80 degrees outside as we speak.
It's like 60, it's like 58 here. It's ridiculous.
We're due for like a 85 over the weekend. We got
Oof.
another, fake summer out here.
Fake
We're
summer.
in
The fake
where we
summer
were
Ohio.
fake. We had a fake start to fall with a few of those 70 degrees, some of those 60-degree days
It's like,
over
ha,
here.
got you.
Yeah. Filed the paperwork necessary for my stolen trash can, so got that taken care of, out of the way.
I'm
Still
sorry.
don't have a can. It's
I'm
going to be
sorry.
here hopefully next week.
I laugh every time you say that because it's just funny to me that your trash can got stolen.
It is. I haven't even lived here. Well, I've lived here for a little over a month now, and yeah, of all the things to steal or for all the craziest things that could happen in your first month, that's the one thing that happens. But no, yeah, can't complain about that. The only complaint I do have is the amount that I've had to work last weekend, and then I guess this weekend, especially with how
Oh,
loaded this college football slate is that we'll talk about. But
they're
I
like,
did get
screw
to
you.
see. Yeah, I did get to see the end of the Clemson Georgia Tech game last week,
Dude,
and I
Clemson
saw
sucks.
it's not good. Yeah,
Clemson's bad, dude.
you want to
We
just
were
hop
so
into that
hyped.
game right now?
Yes, because we were so hyped on Clemson. We both fell for it. We both fell for it at the beginning of the year. And here we are. And I just, the game was frustrating, and especially what Dabo said was it today in the media. So Georgia, what one Georgia Tech I think is underrated. I think Georgia Tech's better than what I think we give them credit for. I think you
Yeah,
gave them credit for it.
that wasn't your typical bottom of the barrel
No,
unranked team that came out and beat a high power
no.
like that. Georgia Tech team should have been ranked probably.
Also, Haynes King is just found himself a home at Georgia Tech. Like he's really has. But no, I look at Clemson. I'm just like, where's Klubnik? Like, I feel like we're going to say the same thing about Nussmeier and it's a lot of these other quarterbacks. It feels like the guys that were supposed to be the dudes this year that we even had in a lot of our Heisman rankings at the beginning of the year. I just feel like the offense is just like not happening. Like I just don't get how Clemson like they've gotten so like status quo of like, oh, we'll go 10-2, we'll win the conference. Like, and then Dabo comes out and says, "Well, if they're tired of winning, you can let me go." And it's like, it's not that they're tired of winning. I think people are tired of you going 10-2 and doing nothing. Like, there's
Not
got to be
doing
some
anything
changing.
to get better. Seeing,
No,
maybe we could be two or three transfers away from going 11-1 or winning playoff games again like we used to back
yeah.
in the day. Like get back to that level.
Like, and I
But
think that's the difference between Ohio State and between Georgia and between some of these other teams, where it's like Ohio State and Georgia. It's like they might have one semi down year. Maybe they go 10-2 or 9-3 for bid, but they always find a way to bounce back because that's just kind of the way they're set up. I just don't think Clemson's set up that way right now. I don't think players. I just it's hard for me to see that they have like a plan. Because like they lost these two games and you would think that the world is ending for Clemson, but I don't know how much better they get, to be honest, this year. Like they could be an 8-4 team. And I know that sounds wild to me, but to most people, but it's like I've seen this team play. They don't look that good, just personally.
yeah, I think it's easy sometimes to make the mistake of seeing returning talent, returning production come back and assume that they're going to get even better when they could just be they are what they are, and that's what Clemson looks like right now. I mean, we thought some receivers like Brian Wesco and Antonio Williams would make for a pretty significant pass attack for Klubnik, but Klubnik so far in 3 games has averaged 211 yards, one touchdown, one pick. It's not the Heisman front
No.
runner numbers that you would expect for a team that didn't really have any questions coming into the year. You kind of knew what you had, but they just haven't elevated. But we got to talk about the winners too. Like this isn't just about Clemson being down. This is about Georgia Tech also being good. Like the
Yeah.
way that they end the game even with I think it's 14 seconds left and the offense
Yeah.
is hustling off the field and they're just casually bringing the special teams unit on to set up a 55-yard field goal as time's expiring. It's like this isn't even a guarantee that this is going to end and there's like absolutely no pressure. They're calm, cool, collected, make the kick and it's over. But like you said, man, Haynes King is going to be a campus legend here if this is in any way a turning point for the Georgia Tech football program that always kind of was a sleeping giant being in Atlanta, the state where the College Football Hall of Fame is at, right in the middle of that ACC, SEC territory in a state that's rich in talent. And they just wasted it for so long doing the triple option offense. And it took
Yeah.
so long to, with, I think it was Jeff Collins was the head coach before, trying to get them out of that and eventually just ran out of time. But Brent Key's come in here and basically taking advantage of the resources that Georgia Tech has always had and people have just for whatever reason ignored. But yeah, Haynes King, man, what a warrior. We were wondering if he was going to be a healthy go for this one, and I mean he took a beat and he carried the ball 25 times himself, and this one had a handful of touchdowns. But yeah, Georgia Tech makes the ACC race look interesting now because we do wonder if Clemson will they win out and go 10-2. Florida State looks like a threat. Miami's looking really, really good too. And then you insert Georgia Tech into that mix, and this conference could be a fun race to watch.
Yeah. A conference that we thought was going to be a one horse race, and it's obviously not. So, yeah, it's just an interesting thing, man. Dabo, like, I don't know. I have some friends that are Clemson fans, and I know they're getting to the point where they're like, like they really wouldn't mind if Dabo goes. Like I have friends that have told me like we don't mind if Dabo goes. Like I think there's just some people that are like he's hit his. I think a lot of cold blooded, you know, Clemson fans are just like, well, I don't see us getting any better than where we were, and we're definitely not going to get back there anytime soon. I think some people are just like maybe it is time for a fresh face. And again, I'm not saying that Dabo's a bad coach. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is like it feels like he's gotten just stagnant with the fact of success, and he hasn't really wanted to adapt. We've seen it occasionally here and there, but for the 90% of the time, he doesn't adapt. And that's one thing I give credit to Kirby Smart, to Ryan Day, is they've adapted as time has gone on. So that's my final thoughts there.
Yeah, and to wrap up my thought on Clemson, there just seems to be like that lack of hunger to like get back to where you were. Like when you say they want to fire me for winning, it's like you think that going 10-2 and
Is
losing a playoff
winning?
game or missing a playoff game is winning or that's cool or that's acceptable. You don't have any desire in your heart at all to make some extra moves or recruit a little harder or develop a little harder or go out and make another good coach hire to get you back to that next level and put you in actual contention again. I mean, Kirby Smart for years was going 10-2, losing to Kirby Smart and just finishing, 5 or 6 just on the edge of that 14 college football playoff. And it's like, man, if that was just cool to him, he would have kept doing that. And Georgia never comes out and wins,
Yeah.
39 games in a row or whatever it was, and wins 2 national championships and finally does take down Nick Saban. Like you got to have that hunger in you, and I don't think Debo has it right now. Hearing him talk like that.
No, I don't think he does either. Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, that wasn't the only, I guess, upset that happened. Vanderbilt beat the brakes off of South Carolina, the Gamecocks, and Lenore
Yeah, South
Sellers.
Carolina screwed me. Sellers screwed me in fantasy. Gosh.
Lenore Sellers did get hurt in this one. I think South Carolina scored a touchdown on their opening drive, and then Vanderbilt scored 31 straight. Diego Pavia looked pretty
Who's
good. South
supposedly going for
Carolina,
his eighth year, by the way, or seventh year, or
yeah,
whatever. He's trying to get
spent a
his
long
seventh
time
year.
at the college level, but yeah, you can say that South Carolina lost this one because Sellers got hurt, but I still don't think that a team like that had that expectation, at least that I did, should be losing 31-7 to a team like Vanderbilt. But at the same time, make no mistake, I don't think this Vanderbilt team, which is now 3-0, is the Vanderbilt team of our childhood that was
No.
only going to go 3-9 in this conference and never any better. I think that if you're a Vanderbilt football fan, you can expect to win 6 or 7 games now. And you caught South Carolina at a pretty good time when we had some questions about their ability to run the football, convert on third down, even in some ways what kind of an attack that they had, even though the talent was there. And then Sellers goes down and they just capitalize like a good football team would.
Yeah, yeah, it's just one of those things where I think South Carolina just needs to hit the reset and kind of look at themselves because I think they love the expectations. I think they all you could kind of see the sense there. The players were loving the expectations. Even I felt like the head coach at times, Beamer was like loving those expectations, but it's almost like they forgot that they have to play ball. And I think South Carolina just has not looked like South Carolina that we saw glimpses of last year. And I'll be honest with you, I don't see how this team wins more than eight or maybe probably 8 games because they don't finish. Their defense is very subpar at times. Sellers has been super inconsistent when he is healthy. Nick Harbor
Underwhelming.
Nick Harbor has basically been non-existent for a guy that was been quoted as the freakiest dude in college football at times. He's been pretty much irrelevant. Um, so I don't see this team winning a lot more games, and this is definitely more of a media expectation thing that has kind of come back to backfire on them.
And just like we were saying, even at the start of the year, with how deep the SEC is, not everyone can take that next step forward. And it looks like South Carolina, I don't think it's necessarily that their conference is just loaded right now. They just don't look very talented right now,
No,
or not very like much of a football team, skilled football team. One other team that we said maybe could pull off upset, it was going to be very hard to do. It was going to be South Florida and Miami. We both picked Miami in this one to win pretty convincingly. South Florida was to go 3-0 and beat three ranked teams to start the year. You almost have to put them number one. But no, Miami beat the
they
brakes
looked
off of
like
them
a
49 to 12.
they looked like an American Conference team against Miami.
They did, and I'm also not going to say, well, told you guys USF wasn't that good.
No, they're good still.
Put them out. Yeah, like I think USF is going to be one of those teams that's in this race to be the G5 team in the playoff.
I
Like
agree.
this was a very good team that Miami beat, and I'm going to give Miami credit and respect for this one, beating Notre Dame this year, beating South Florida now. Like they got a good resume themselves, and of all the people, Ben, to uh, be involved in, I guess, the turnaround. I was having this conversation with a buddy. We've talked about Nussmeier and Klubnik and Aller from Penn State, essentially being in that race to be the first few picks in the draft. If you needed a quarterback right now in the 2026 draft, Carson Beck looks like the guy that I might pull the trigger on.
I just think it's funny because my one of my really good new teaching buddies at my new school, he's from Georgia and he's just hates Carson Beck. He loves Gunner. He's like Gunner's our guy. I mean, his name's Gunner and he's in Georgia and he gets cows for Christmas. But no, I look Carson Beck. I think is just one of those guys that like he's one of those guys that as a coach would drive you nuts because he loves the flair. He loves to like I think has that lovely ego that some would say. He is playing good. And I think on your point on USF is that they beat the brakes off of Boise State. By the way, this Boise State team was the team that made it the playoff last year. I know they don't have
hmm
Genty, but they blew the brakes off of Boise State. And they competed with Miami. I think Miami showed that they're the better, I think just faster, more physical and all every sense of the word. Um, but yeah, if I look at Miami, I just think, Carson's done a great job, but I also like Notre Dame, like I agree with you on the win, but Notre Dame's now 0-2, which they're still ranked, which is just hilarious to me. How are you one of the best teams in the country without a win? But that's besides the point. Um, Notre Dame wins looking a little less impressive just because Notre Dame's not looking that great. Um, but at the same time, I still think they've competed with the best so far that they can, and I think they're up there with Ohio State and Penn State for sure.
Yeah. Again, Carson Beck, 340 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, a touchdown on the ground. But let's go ahead and transition to that Notre Dame team that is 0-2 now, but has two top 25 losses or by a total of 4 points. And I think that's the argument the committees, or not the committee, but the voters are using. I disagree with it. I think at 0-2 at this point, regardless of how you lost and who you lost to, you should be out
Yeah, you
of the
shouldn't be in
poll.
there. No.
But we got to talk about Texas A&M though, because I think the way that they won this game was nothing that I saw coming. I only threw out that this could be like Marcel Reed's coming out party to a potential Heisman campaign that he puts out this year. But the way the Aggies won this game, Ben, wasn't even necessarily the run game, although they did have 128 yards as a team and three scores on the ground. Marcel Reed had 360 yards through the air. The passing game had several explosive plays go down in this one, something that I wouldn't have expected on a secondary like Notre Dame's. And yeah, this comes down to the wire. It's 1 point, man. Texas A&M wins 41-40. The Aggies are a team that's looking pretty studly too.
Oh yeah, Texas A&M. I love. I just got Marcel Reed on my fantasy because I mean the dude is just tearing it up lately, and when he's healthy, he's good. And that's the only problem with Marcel Reed is he healthy? And I think when he is healthy, he is one of the best out there.
Yeah. Speaking of all those SEC teams that wanted to take the next step forward, and Mike Elko comes in, and yeah, this is one of those teams that I think I was. It's still early to say, but I was a little higher on South Carolina going the year, a little lower on
Yeah,
Texas A&M, and it looks like I'm going to have to recalibrate that expectation. But uh, wrapping up the slate of games that we covered, another exciting one was the Georgia Tennessee game. This one goes to overtime, and Tennessee started off
Tennessee
really
does
hot
it
in this
again.
one.
How much they
Tennessee started off
choke
hot in
it.
this one, but I'm going to give the my flowers to Georgia because I think that if you told me that Tennessee scored 40 in this one, I wouldn't think that Georgia's offense would be able to keep up with that.
Oh no way.
And they came out and showed that we are a ground and pound team. That's what we prefer to do, but we can also, besides just clock management and running hard, we can win in a shootout with a team like Tennessee. I think in regulation and it being 38-38, but
Whew.
to his
Yeah.
credit, Gunnar Stockton being their guy, 304 yards, two touchdowns, no picks in this one. And I mean, Joey Aguilar had a good game on the other end too, 371 yards, four touchdowns, two picks. Uh, if you wanted to point to like anything in the box score that like really was the difference of the game, you could say Tennessee needs to be a little bit more disciplined. They had twice as many penalties for over twice as many yards. Both teams had two turnovers in this one. Georgia did run the football better in this one, but uh, yeah, Georgia looks like a good team. I still think Tennessee is going to be a good team this year and better than what I thought too. But this was a good win for Georgia. We had said that uh, they got it looks like better at the line of scrimmage. They're able to run the football like the Georgia teams of old. But to anybody that was wondering if Gunnar Stockton could throw the football, if these receivers were going to be legit, it looks like yeah, Georgia has cleaned up that passing game uh, this year.
Yeah, the running game still a little bit like where's the Georgia running game, the dominant running game. But no, Tennessee, man, I will say though, you got a love for Tennessee fans though. Even in this loss, to look and see Nico just struggling in UCLA, you have to be just having so much joy in your smile every single day when you think about the fact that you traded Nico for a guy that you're paying probably about maybe 900,000 a year to NIL to come in for 1 year and to do what he's going to do in Aguilar and I think they might have won that trade there, Josh, because UCLA looks absolutely like trash and Tennessee looks really good. And I think you can't say that Tennessee's not going to be a good team because they've proven a lot over us in the last few weeks.
UCLA could go 0-12 this year. They lost
I
to New
know
Mexico this last game, which was supposed to be another one of their scheduled wins,
they
and
got to play Ohio State this year. Oh
it's led to Deshaun Foster getting fired
yeah,
already. And the other wrinkle that you throw into that too is that if you fire your coach, players can transfer out. And we also haven't gotten to that four-game redshirt moment either. So how much of a mass exodus could this be for not only the UCLA football program, but also Virginia Tech, who did the same thing. They lost to Old
yeah.
Dominion, and they were like, we've had it, Brent Pry, get out of here." So the last game that we had talked about last week, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up with this is the LSU Florida game, Ben. I think if you told an LSU fan that they picked DJ Legway off five times, that they would have assumed that they won by more than 10 points and scored more than 20 points in this one with all those extra possessions. But they did not. On their own home field, the offense still seemed to have its issues. And I mean, you can credit that to Florida's defense being good, but LSU also only scored 27 against what was it, Louisiana Tech the last week.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, Garrett Nussmeier is just kind of out here, uh, not being asked to do too much. Like there were times last year he had to throw 40 or 50 times for them to just be able to compete with teams, and he's not necessarily needing to do that, but he's also not really taking charge and being super accurate and making really many big explosive plays on offense that we're used to seeing from LSU either. And that was a question that they got at the end of the game that really made Brian Kelly upset was about the offensive production. But if you're an LSU fan, yeah, you got a win over Clemson now that maybe doesn't look as impressive. You got a win over Florida that at least preseason was looking like it was going to be a competitive game. And I mean, it was 20 to 10, but Florida as a team, I don't think people are really as high on them as they used to be. So are you still, I mean, if you're an LSU fan, I'm still excited about how the defense is playing football this year. I mean, you've pick off DJ Lagway 5 times. That's still pretty good. But uh, again, it's one of those things that's like we're gonna have to continue to monitor with LSU because LSU with a defense like this, very good, dangerous team, I think still. But are they going to be able to win in a shootout against Tennessee like Georgia did? I don't know if their offense could do that.
No, I agree with you. It's rough to see, um, yeah, I think that Florida is bad again, and I think LSU is a good team that could be great, but I think it's just going to be good. I think that's kind of how I put it for these two teams.
Just kind of bouncing around, I guess, some other things that happened throughout the weekend. Let's see. Uh, Speaking of quarterbacks with high expectations, yeah, Arch Manning, Ben. Uh, they win against UTEP 27 to 10, the Longhorns do, but Arch another really unimpressive day, 11 of 25, 114 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Is this, I mean, this is Texas can't keep winning football games like this, like we had with or like Aaron Lynn said with us week one. You want to talk about a dangerous scenario for Texas? They got Ohio State week one that they could lose and did lose. Uh, the Florida game that they got isn't as scary, but they got Oklahoma next, and we were saying they could maybe be 3-3 in that 6 game stretch right there. Maybe it'll be 4-2, but with the expectations that Texas had being number one and everything, I don't think you like that. And I mean, a lot of that does hinge on the way that Arch is playing football right now.
Yeah, it's Arch is not looking good. I just saw a list of like the most 10 disappointed players, and Arch was on there. Caden Proctor was on there. There's a lot of different guys, but yeah, again, and I think again, I go back to what I said, I think last week and a couple weeks ago, like stop putting this expectation on this kid. He's not Peyton's son. He's not Eli's son. He's their nephew. And when he has gotten the opportunity, he's either gotten banged up or he just hasn't looked good. And I think that's part of just the name became more than what the player actually is value wise. And I think that's what's going to be interesting in the future.
And Arch is a super humble kid. He said that name gave him a lot of undeserved attention and maybe flowers for not doing
Yeah.
anything yet. So I'm not gonna come at the kid for necessarily being a disappointment. More so at I guess everybody around him hyping him up. I didn't have him on my Heisman uh, finalist list to start the year. I just thought he'd be a good quarterback, but
Yeah.
even like below the expectations that I had for him this year. The last game that I wanted to talk about was your Buckeyes, and this
Mhm.
was a 13 to 9 game at the start of the fourth quarter after Ohio scored a touchdown to kick off the second half. Was there ever any moment in this game that you were nervous, not necessarily to lose, but just, dang man, we got a lot more things to figure out than what I thought.
No. I thought the defense played really well the whole game. I mean, outside that one big play in the second half, they pretty much shut it down Ohio if you look at the stats. I mean, they shut him down pass wise, running wise, made life just so difficult for the quarterbacks. Offense, I mean, didn't really struggle, just didn't finish. Just made some stupid turnovers. Um, yeah, just some dumb choices in that sense. But no, I wasn't really worried. I kind of viewed it as, a learning process for a lot of these young guys, but I think they're in probably better shape than most teams at this point. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't crazy enough for me to go worrying at all.
Gotcha. Yeah, just for a little while there from looking at other scores, just like, oh, that's a little closer than what I would have thought it would have been. But yeah, like you said, two turnovers in that one for Ohio State, failed a fourth down conversion, but scored 24 straight after that Ohio touchdown. And I mean, Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate each finished with over 100 yards and a touchdown in this one. So overall, got to be happy with the way that Julian Saints settled in, who only had 7 incompletions. Two of them
Yeah,
were picks, though, so got to clean that up a little bit. But it's funny with saying because when the Grambling game, he had one incompletion and it was a pick, too.
yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah. Uh, all that to say, though, I think now we can go ahead and re-rank our top five Heisman watch list and our team power ranking
yeah.
before we get into the loaded slate that is week 4. So let's see.
They're not too much changes, so we can just kind of rattle them off unless there's a lot of changes for you. But
I think I made one adjustment in my team ranking. So I got LSU at 5. I debated pulling them out for maybe a team like Georgia, but I'm still going to give LSU. I'm holding out on LSU one more week, I think, on to see that offense because I got my questions answered about Georgia's offense. Like we said, the LSU resume, while it's good, it's not as insane as we once thought it was. So I'm leaving them at 5, holding out hope that Nussmeier and the offense will turn it around.
yeah,
Number 4, got Oregon there. They haven't had that signature win, although pretty soon they're going to play Penn State, and we'll get the opportunity to see them against a team with a
mhm.
pulse. But as for now, they're pounding all the teams that don't have a pulse.
That is
And
true.
Penn State's kind of similar. I got them at 3 right there. Uh, that's the one adjustment I made. I dropped them down to 3. Not necessarily for anything that I'm seeing from them that's lacking. It's just like we were saying, how impressive Miami's been. I had to move them up to 2. I think their wins uh, this year over Notre Dame, and the jury's still out on Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's not looking embarrassing in any of these games, and they beat a good South Florida team. And then Ohio State is still at 1 for me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm. It's not too crazy for me. I have at 5. I have Miami at 5. I have Miami. Sorry, not sorry. I read that wrong. Sorry, I have LSU at 5. I have Miami at 4. 3. I have sorry. Sorry. 3. I
Can you
have.
read?
No, I can't read right now. My brain is. I've had a long day with sixth graders. When you have a long day with sixth graders, your brain kind of just fries. All right, here let me clarify here. So I have 5. 5 I have LSU. 4 I have Texas. 3 I have Miami. 2 I have Penn State. 1 I have Ohio State. Again, even though I was talking about Texas, I still don't. I still think they're like at least talent wise and potential. Again, we're going to see a lot this next game, but I'm going to keep them in there. Just for I think they're still a very good team. Again, they only lost to Ohio State by 7, and that was because of a very good defense. So if they can get the offense going, great. But again, I think Miami is. I said earlier, I think they're one of the 3 best teams in the country. And then you have LSU who's somehow still hanging in there. I was very close to putting a few other teams in there, but I was especially like Oregon, but I kind of kept it for this for now. So that's where I'm at.
I hear you on Texas, and I was going to push back on that, but I hear your reasoning, and some of that's kind of, I guess, why I still got LSU there. And I think the perception of Texas would be very different if they do come out and
Yeah,
win that game
exactly.
against Ohio State. We're kind of giving them a pass for some of these struggles against some of these lesser than teams. But yeah, I still got to see some stuff from Texas, and I think if Arch doesn't come around, I think that it could be a disappointing year for them. But all right, Heisman, this is going to be interesting too.
Oh yes.
I dropped another person out of that preseason. Dropped Lenora Sellers
Yep,
out.
he's out too for
Uh,
me.
there's just been too many other high performers at this point, plus the injury, missing time there. It's always hard to make up for that. So I do still have Garrett Nussmeier at 5. I dropped him down. I'm just kind of like, I know I've seen him do it, but it is a new year. And so
Yeah.
eventually I can't just be giving him credit for things he's done in the past. This year, I'm going to have to see it on the field at some point, but still holding out that he'll come around and got him at 5. Number 4 is a new face, Ben, and we're going to talk about him in this slate. Baron Morton, quarterback from Texas Tech. Absolute, like you remember the quarterbacks that Texas
Yo,
Tech used to have when we were
gunslinger,
kids, the Mike Leach offense.
gunslinger.
This kid's gunslinging it too, and above him is another slinger, Sawyer Robertson, who still I don't think has an interception this year. One of the leaders in passing yards and touchdowns at this point. The quarterback from Baylor. Uh, Jeremiah Smith had another nice game for me, so I kept him at 2 against Ohio, and then at number 1, and we're gonna get to see him against another really good team this weekend is John Mateer. I got him at number 1 right now. It's hard to pick a number 1 at this point, in terms of not only performance, but also like that dog in him mentality
Yeah.
and also signature wins. I think that John Mateer, like we said last week, after the Michigan game, I was like, you know what? There are some things that Oklahoma did not do well. There are some things that could have cost them this game, but John's tough. And I think I am seeing what everybody was hyping him up for. That is one of the few quarterbacks that came into the year with hype that seems to be living up to it. So I've shot John Mateer up to number 1 on my list.
Oh, oh, Josh, you're gonna think mine's crazy, but it's fine. 5, I have Mr. Haynes King. Um,
Hey,
there was just something about that game. Again, he didn't have flashy pass numbers. He hasn't even thrown a touchdown pass this year yet. But the way he ran the ball and the way he just doesn't care, I think part of winning the Heisman is just showing people that you don't, you care and you show that. For me, Haynes King is at number 5. I think he's just. I'm just gonna say watch that name. I was either gonna put him or Marcel Reed, so it was gonna be one
you
of
can
those
do
two.
that. He definitely could put together a campaign. It's just at this point with missing week 2, I
Yeah.
didn't want to put someone on that only had 2
So
games.
I will say it was between him and Marcel Reed. So
Okay.
those were my two guys. 4, I have Nussmeier. Still, I think he needs to prove a lot to me, but that's where I'm at with him. Um, it's interesting because I was thinking about what do I do with these top 3? Because I think either way, anybody you put in these 3, I think you can go with it. But I have Sawyer Robertson at 3. Again, no interceptions. I don't care what level you play at through 3 games. That's very impressive. Number 2, I have John Mateer. Again, I'm with you, man. John Mateer is fun to watch. It'd be an interesting thing against Texas because that is a very good defense. See what he has. And then number 1 for me is Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith came out and had 2 touchdowns. He had a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown this past week. And he's looking scarier and scarier each game. And Julian Sand just needs to know throw the ball up to Jeremiah Smith and you're going to be okay. So,
Fine 4.
yeah, so that's my list right there.
All right. Well, hey, like I said, this week 4 slate is loaded, and it was hard to just pick 5 games to talk about. I'll even throw out some honorable mentions that people should be paying attention to after this, but I think I narrowed it down to a really good 5, or at least the best 5 that we can discuss. And we'll go ahead and start with the noon slate, Ben. We got Utah and Texas Tech. We're going
Mm,
to get to see Baron Morton against a team with a pulse because as of right now, Ben, the teams that Texas Tech has played have been Oregon State, who doesn't have a win this year, Kent State, they got a win, but it's Kent State,
it's
and
true.
AR Pine Bluff, who
Oh,
they beat
Arkansas Pine
67
Bluff.
to 7. So you could look at that and be like, obviously Baron Morton's one of the leading passers in the country, and you know what? That very well could be. We're going to get to see him against a team with a pulse, though, Utah. And the one thing that fascinates me about this game is just also the quarterback on the other end, Devin
Dampier,
Dampier,
dude's a
dual
freak, dude.
threat.
Dude's a
Uh,
freak.
yeah, absolute freak over there. So it's tough to try to figure that out because Utah also is kind of like in that area where they haven't really played anybody with a pulse. But uh, what I'm curious to see, I guess, is we know the quarterbacks can play. Who's going to be able to run the football and control the line of
Yeah.
scrimmage? Because Texas Tech has like three guys that have been splitting carries. They can keep fresh legs over there. I don't think Utah has that depth, although you do have the extra piece with Dampier that is a dual threat and someone that can take pressure off your running backs. Utah also is one of the leading pass rushing teams this year. I think they got 9 sacks as a team. It ranks pretty high up, and I think his name's Daly, has 5 of those. So
Yeah.
going to have to be able to neutralize him. Uh, and then we're going to have to see, I guess, the Texas Tech defense go against the Utah rush offense, which I got to pull this stat up here. Uh, make sure I don't butcher it. But I'm pretty sure I read that Utah also as a team is running the football really well too. I just want to get that ranking exactly right. Yes, Utah is 7th in the country in rush yards right now, Ben. So they've proven that they can, control the line of scrimmage too. So uh, that's kind of laying out things that I see from both sides here. I'll go ahead and let you say what you're excited to see about in this game, and then we'll go ahead and predict a score.
Oh, I'm excited to see Devin Dampier. I think that guy is just he's fun to watch. I remember watching him at New Mexico last year, and the dude, he almost I think had almost 1,000 yards rushing, I believe. Um, the guy's really a freak, and again, we haven't seen that at Utah. We've seen guys that can run, but not like that. And also Texas Tech, like they have a running back. He's actually on my fantasy team. He had 100 yards receiving last week, about 60 yards rushing. Like they do things in a different way, right? They don't necessarily run the ball, I think, is the focus. Obviously, it's more that old school Texas Tech kind of offense. But for me, I think um, at the end of the day, I think that I'm going to actually go with Utah on this one. I think Utah's defense, the way Utah plays, I think I'm going to give Utah the slight edge in this game, and I'm going to go Utah 24, Texas Tech 21. I'm going to go Utah.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky one. In mentioning how good Utah runs the football, I do have to mention that Texas Tech is second in the country in rush yards allowed. 124 total this year. Teams have been able to run on them.
Oof.
They're allowing also, you could say, well, Josh, they've won 3 blowout games against bad teams, so maybe they just stopped running the football, and that's why the total's so low. Well, they've also allowed only 1.51 yards per carry
Yeah.
against inferior competition, but still. Uh, it is going to be a strength on a strength because it's not like Utah has been running the football and anyone that's really good at stopping the run either. But these matchups are going to come in collision right here. We're going to get to see, like I said, Devin Dampier versus Baron Morton. Uh, and I think I'm leaning Utah right now too. I've been a believer in Utah a little more preseason. Definitely considered both these teams would be in the Big 12 race, but I said, hey, don't sleep on Utah, man. They had some struggles last year adjusting to, you know, new conference. They had some injuries. They had to deal with Cam Rising being gone, and they're finally getting to move past that. I'm going to go ahead and stand on that and say that Utah does win this one. I think they're going to have to score a lot of points though, because I think Texas Tech and Barry Morton are going to bring the heat too.
Yeah.
As far as how high scoring this game could be, we'll see. But I'll go Utah 37 to 30.
Ooh. I like it. I like it. I agree with that. Very good.
Another notable matchup here, and we've actually gotten to see both of these teams go against a good team already this year, and that's Auburn at Oklahoma. This is exciting for a few reasons. You got Jackson Arnold, former Oklahoma quarterback, coming to
Hmm.
his former, campus and playing in front of those fans. How's he going to handle that pressure? How is he going to, I guess, is he going to be hungry to get a win over his old team? I think so. Uh, Auburn, Ben, is top 10 in the country in running the football and stopping the run. That could present a problem because Oklahoma hasn't really been able to run the football very well this year. That's one of the things that you look at with this team, and it's like, dang, man, you're Oklahoma and you're only running 3 yards of carry against whoever that what was they played week one. You would have thought they would have been able to manhandle them. But to the rushing point, uh, Oklahoma has faced a team that's runs the football very well in Michigan, who's top 20 in rushing offense. And besides the one big explosive play they allowed to Justice Haynes, I thought they contained that run game and made life very difficult for Bryce Underwood. I think Oklahoma could do the same thing here because Jackson Arnold hasn't really been an air threat yet. He's been
Yeah.
a threat with his legs too. They prefer to run the football. If Oklahoma can do just enough to contain that run game and maybe force Jackson to have to throw a little bit more than what he wants. I think Oklahoma, that's how they beat Michigan. I think that they could do the same thing in this game, and John Mateer could maybe have, one or two Heisman moment plays in this game. I'm going to go ahead and take the Sooners in this one, uh, but I'll go ahead and let you say your thoughts and what you're watching for in this game before I give a score prediction.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Crane boys. I don't think Auburn's going to win this game. I'll give a score prediction in a second, but I think this is John Mateer's test, one of his another test for him, and they'll have Texas as well. So for me, John Mateer, this is a way for him to prove that he's not just a system quarterback, as they say, but he's actually a playmaker. And so I just like the matchup. I think Oklahoma matches up a little bit better, and I'm going to take Oklahoma in this game. I'm going to go 31 to 20. 31 to 20.
And I suppose I also got to mention, if you're an Auburn fan, you're probably saying, well, we held Baylor to 24. And I mean, Sawyer Robertson did have a good game yards wise, but that is a good team that Auburn has been able to beat this year too. But I've seen, I guess, Oklahoma in this space before, and I saw them get it done. So I feel good about what they can do in this matchup. But we'll see. Uh, the Bussin' Bowl, Ben, Michigan versus Nebraska, Will Compton versus Taylor Lewan. We're not going to have Sharon Moore coaching this game, but Michigan has beaten Nebraska, I believe, the last four times they have faced each other. But if you're looking for other exciting things to watch in this one, the future of quarterbacks, possibly Bryce Underwood, the number one quarterback of his class this year, going against the number one quarterback of last year's class with Dylan Raiola. Uh, Nebraska is 3-0 in this one, but they have not been ranked in the top 25 because they have beaten Cincinnati by 3. They beat the brakes off of Akron, and then they played, I think, Houston Christian last week and beat them 59 to 7. So not really any win that you can point to there that would make them top 25 worthy, I guess, in the committee's eyes. But Michigan's gone against Oklahoma, as we just said, and they lost that one, I think, 24 to 13. So they've gone against a good team so far, uh, and showed that they can't pass the football, at least not
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
We have that question with Michigan. It's like, okay, Bryce Underwood, while he did make some good throws, when it was a game that basically he had to throw to win, they couldn't get it done. And Devin McCauley still looks like the only receiver that's capable on this team. So again, you're going to have to rely on Justice Haynes to give, I guess, Bryce take some of that pressure off and open up maybe some throwing lanes for the Wolverines in this one. It's just I haven't seen Nebraska do anything yet this year to make me think that they're a defense that is up for that task. The one thing I will say is, I guess the one Power Four team they played, Cincinnati, and they only scored 20 in that one. Rayola did have 243 yards through the air and two touchdowns. Uh, he's looking like he's taken a step forward overall this year so far. I think he had, what was it, like 2,800 yards and 13 touchdowns last year. At this point, he already has 829 yards and eight touchdowns, still no picks. Uh, and I remember saying that I thought Michigan would beat Oklahoma, but don't take that as Michigan has come back from to
Yeah.
that national championship contender level yet, because I think Nebraska could be a potential letdown game. And while it wouldn't be a letdown in the sense that they're coming off that high of Oklahoma win, I think it's still a team that the Wolverines just maybe aren't cut out to win yet. They are 2.5 point favorite on the road, which is interesting. But what say you?
No, I agree with you. I don't trust Michigan throwing the ball at all. And I look at this game and I'm looking back and forth and I just think Nebraska, you're right. I don't think their defense is that strong. But then I look at Michigan and their offense doesn't seem outside of the run game, I guess, doesn't seem really, really strong. So it's kind of a toss up and I kind of thought of that in my head and I'm like, well,
This really does seem like a coin flip.
I'm a Ohio State fan, so for sure if it's a coin flip, then I know where I'm going with and I'm gonna take Nebraska in this game. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
guys, I
20,
flipped the coin
28.
500 times in a row, and
Yeah,
it's landed on Nebraska every single time.
I
I don't
know.
get it.
I'm gonna go 28-21.
28-21. Yeah, I think we'll see a point slacking in this one too. I'll go 24-20 Huskers in this one. And of course, the Michigan fans are going to say, well, we won 8 games last year without any kind of quarterback play, so surely Bryce is worth like one or two extra wins, being able to throw the football at least. But there's just still, it's like it's not high enough of a level yet.
Yeah.
Like you went 9-24 against the Sooners. I got to see a little better than
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Let's see. this game should get more credit than what I think it will get nationally, and that's Illinois at Indiana.
I agree.
Like we've talked about a couple matchups that I think are a little bit more exciting, but this one is going to be an exciting one. I think it's just going to be overshadowed, but definitely excited to see what Illinois looks like, a team that had a lot returning also. Uh, has a really good win over Duke, 45 to 19. They just shut out Western Michigan last week, 38 to nothing. Luke Altmaier is looking like the real deal so far with 709 yards, 8 touchdowns, no picks. And then on the Indiana side, Sig's still doing Sig things over there.
Yeah.
They got they just beat, I think it was Indiana State. What was it? 70, I'll find the score here. 73 to nothing. I think it's the first time that they've scored 70 since 1901. So
Hmm.
it is against Indiana State, but this is Indiana's football program too. So take that for what it's worth. But outside of that, just haven't seen the Hoosiers really against anyone with a pulse either. They got a 27 to 14 win over Old Dominion and a 56 to 9 win over Kennesaw State. A couple players that have been impressive so far. I think you got to look at Mendoza at quarterback, who has 708 yards himself, 9 touchdowns, no picks, so pretty comparable resume to what Altmaier has. Black at running back has 217 yards, and BB Jr. has 209, and Hemby has 200. So three guys already with over 200 rush yards. They've run the football very well over there in Indiana. Uh, Rushing wise on the Illinois side, I mean, Fegan's been nice at 222 yards. Valentine right behind him at 158. But again, I think Illinois has gone against slightly better competition to start this year. And as it stands right now, Indiana actually is the favorite at 5.5, being the home team. And 5.5 is a little more than home field advantage, which I find interesting. But Illinois, being all the way ranked up at 9 and Indiana at 19, I wonder what the matchup is that I'm missing here that Vegas is seeing. Uh, Anything there, Ben, that you think they could be making Indiana favored by that
Mm.
high?
No, I just think I think people are still doubting Illinois, I think, in a sense. I think there are a lot of people. I'm not necessarily one of them. I think Illinois, they might be a team that with the veterans might be able to pull some good wins out. I don't think they beat like the Ohio States, but I do think that they're going to be very, very competitive. Um, I was wondering which way I would go on this game, and I just have to like Illinois, man, and what Bielema's doing there. I think they're going to end up coming away with this just because I think they're going to work harder for it. I think there's less like the buy-in transfer culture where it's more of, hey, I kind of get my guys. If I do get a guy transfer, I'm trying to get those younger guys. Um, so for me, I'm going to take Illinois in this one. I'm going to take Illinois. I'm going to go 17 to 10, Illinois.
The other thing that I'm fascinated about with Indiana in this one is last year and so far this year, we've seen them go against absolute cheeks teams.
Oh yeah.
And the two like good teams they play just happen to be last year's Ohio State and Notre Dame, who were the national champ and the runner-up. So it's
Yeah.
like, of course they lost to those teams. But there's nothing to say that you're not the third best team. There's
True.
nothing to say that you're not the 100th best team either. So
It's
we're
true.
getting, I think Illinois is kind of like that nice middle ground team there where it's like, you know what? I think this is someone that's truly on Indiana's level and we can see how they play football against them. But I wasn't sleeping on Illinois to start the year, and I'm not going to sleep on them in this one either. Uh, I think the Fighting Illini pull this one off. Uh, but yeah, this is going to be a close one too, I think. Score wise, let's go 28-25. Something weird's going to happen to get that 25, but
No, that's crazy for the games.
yeah, let's see. We are not done yet. We have yet at our disposal to talk about is Tulane at Ole Miss. And before we talk about this one, there were a lot of fun games to look at. Uh, I mean, South Carolina playing Missouri, you would have thought that would have been a more exciting game last week to watch, but I think it'll still be, a game worth watching. But with the sellers out, not one that we're going to discuss today. Florida at Miami. Don't really need to say a whole lot about that one.
No.
Uh, Michigan State and USC is another Big Ten matchup that has undefeated 3-0 teams. USC finally cracked the top 25 poll, by the way, to get into that one. But yeah, Tulane, I think, is one of those teams that could be, like we were saying, with South Florida in that mix for that G5 playoff spot. Retzloff has looked pretty good for
Yeah,
just arriving
ran
into town.
ran for 4 touchdowns last week. So
Yeah. On the other side, Ole Miss has kind of been playing two quarterbacks so far. I don't know like how they've been splitting snaps, but it's not like they've had blowouts where they can just bring the backup in. So I think it's
yeah,
been like more running situations, and I'll break it down. Austin Simmons got hurt, didn't play last week, or only played very limited before leaving the Arkansas game, and that one ended up being a thriller to watch score wise. That one ended up being 41 to 35 Rebels. Uh, the week before that, they played another SEC game, Kentucky, and only won that 30 to 23. Uh, but yeah, that Arkansas game, to their credit, uh, I think what's his name over at Arkansas?
Pittman.
No, the quarterback, Taylor Green.
Yeah, Tevin Green.
Taylor
Yeah,
Green, I think, leads the country either in touchdown passes or passing yards right now. But we're able to overcome that. And yeah, Simmons threw one pass in this one. It was a 4-yard touchdown. And then Trinidad Chambliss played 353 yards and a touchdown through the air. Also had 62 on the ground. I don't know what the quarterback situation is going to look like at Ole Miss. I haven't seen anything to suggest that Simmons is going to be out. It seems like what we were seeing with Haynes King is that he's trending to play.
hmm.
Uh, Ole Miss is 12.5 point favorite in here, which I think is interesting since they've played some SEC teams, but they've won by 7 and 6 points against who
Yeah,
we would have anticipated was going to be near the bottom of the conference. So I think it's going to be a fun matchup for that reason. We're going to get to see Tulane go against a good team uh, in the Rebels, and they're coming off a win where they got revenge over Darren Mensa and Duke. I mean, this is
yeah,
this was their
they
quarterback
did.
last year that left for Duke for all those millions, and they came out and beat him. They're coming off of that. They got to feel pretty good about that. But yeah, this Ole Miss game is a real opportunity for them to add a signature win, I think, for their season. It's an opportunity for Ole Miss to, I guess, prove some doubters wrong too. That no, we can beat a solid team, regardless if it's G5 or not. We can go ahead and win this one.
Yeah,
So that's why I picked that game of all the other ones.
yeah. I'm interested to see how this goes, but man, I just like the way Tulane played. I watched the highlights of last week and the way they like ran the ball too. Man, I and like that, the field and everything. Being New Orleans too, they feel like a Big 12 school. They kind of do. Um, and I'm just gonna, man, I hate to say this. I'm gonna go Tulane here. I'm gonna go Tulane. I'm gonna go 35-28 Tulane.
Hmm. I'm going with the Rebels in this one. Uh, in more of a high scoring fashion. I think we'll have a similar score to that Arkansas game, but Ole Miss in high scoring games is exciting.
That is
One
true.
other thing, one other thing, I guess, to keep in mind, since these are college kids, they got LSU coming up.
Yeah.
Could they be looking ahead? Could this be that trap that you
Mm,
overlook? Because if you win against Tulane, you're probably getting a top 10 national matchup against the Tigers next week on your own home field.
yeah.
Don't mess this up, Rebels. I'm
Yeah.
picking you to win this one.
Don't
And
mess
I'm
up.
going to
You
go ahead
can't
and
mess up
say
for
that
me.
I'll go 45 to 40 final score.
No, I
But
like it. I like it. So to finish briefly, before we finish up the show, let's talk about the Browns. It's very depressing. I don't want to talk about it really, but Josh said we should talk about it, so fine. Um,
yeah, Baltimore
but
Ravens more than easily covered that
but
11 and
I'll
a
say
half
this
point
though.
spread.
One thing we were wrong though, Josh, is that the Browns defense played pretty dang well. They made a few mistakes, but they kept Henry pretty locked down. They kept Jackson pretty locked down. It's just so happened that the offense absolutely played atrocious and the kicking game was non-existent. Um, I don't understand why at this point you don't just play. I mean, maybe it is still a little early, but put in Dylan Gabriel, put one of these guys in. Like I just that's kind of where I'm at, I guess. And yeah, it's the Browns are very sad right now, and I don't know if it's going to change anytime soon.
We had two turnovers. They had none. We went 1 for 3 on fourth down. They went 1 for 1. Uh, and yeah, you saying the defense played well when Baltimore scored 41. I will let everyone know that Derrick Henry rushed for 23 yards in this one. Lamar Jackson ran
Screwed
for
me over in
13.
fantasy. Henry screwed me over in fantasy.
Yeah, it doesn't happen much. So I guess we'll take the wins where we can. Uh, Quinshon Judkins, 61 yards on the ground in
He
this one
looked really
himself.
good. He looked really good, by the way.
Harold Fannin had another nice game, receiving 5 catches for 48 yards. So the rookies are still looking good. And Gabriel, 3 for 3 with a touchdown in this one. So, I mean, that's what we're kind of watching for this season. We don't think we're going to win a lot of games. We're looking to see how this draft class does. And for anything that could give us hope for next year, because in Cleveland, that's what we're really good at is always next year and looking into the future, never really in the moment. But this year, yeah,
Mm,
uh, not a whole lot to say from this one outside of that. It was a
no.
41-17 beatdown at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
going into next week, we got on the calendar the Green Bay Packers, Ben.
We are going to get slaughtered.
The Green Bay Packers have allowed 13 points to the Detroit Lions. They've allowed 18 points to the Washington Commanders. You could say it's the Micah Parsons effect in full swing with that defense. Can't imagine what they're going to allow against the Cleveland Browns
I'm
offense.
going to make a bold prediction here, Josh. The Browns will not have they will not have more than 130 yards of offense. Bold
More than
prediction.
130 yards of offense. So, to let everyone know how bold this is, total yards by the Detroit Lions was 246. Total yards by the Washington Commanders in this
I hope
one
I'm wrong.
was 230. And the Cleveland Browns total offense through these first two games so far against the Bengals, who we know not the strongest defensive team, we put up a whopping 327 yards in that one. That was one I still think we should have won, all things considered. Uh, and then the Ravens, total yards in this one, we had 323 too. So to say 130
Okay, I
would
will
be
adjust it. Let's
something.
say I'll say 180, and we'll go with
All
180.
right. I was gonna say 130 would be less than half of what we've done this year and well under 100 what Green Bay's allowed for any of those teams.
Yeah.
But all that to say, let me go ahead and give you the spread on this one. Okay, Green Bay is a 7.5 point favorite this week.
Browns are going to lose this game. I'm predicting. Oh, Josh, you're going to laugh at me when I say this. Browns are going to lose this game. I'm going to predict go 35 to 6. 35
On
to
the bright
6.
side, the Buffalo Bills are a bigger favorite against the Miami Dolphins this week at 11 and a half,
The really it might be
but
the Browns and Dolphins might be the two worst teams in football right now.
they might be. Oh boy. Uh, yeah, I think that I'm not going to give. Well, I was just going to say our defense isn't going to allow a lot to Green Bay, but we just did give up 41 to Baltimore. I'll give 35 to or I'll give 34 to Green Bay, and I'll give us 10.
Mm. Yeah, it is one of those weird games and the weird times to be a Browns
The
fan.
start
Well,
of the year was going to be very hard.
yeah,
We knew that. Uh, and if you want to know what we got coming up down the road, we got Detroit the following game, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and Miami. So a slightly easier 3 game slate after we get through these first four. But man,
yeah,
after Miami, we got the Patriots, we got the Jets too. So we'll see how
yeah.
those teams play out. But
We'll see how it plays out. I
yeah,
mean,
these first four were always going to be brutal.
yeah. So, anyways, a lot of football talk though, Josh. I think it was good after this last week where we had a lot of somber moments. I think it's fun to talk about football. Don't you agree?
It is.
I think it's fun
Do
to
you
talk
want
about
to
football.
revisit the wild card standings in baseball?
The Reds won today, so they're now back to 500 and they're 2.5 games back. So they're not going to make the playoffs. That's just,
Yeah,
I've come to believe that that's not happening this year.
it's gonna be it. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, man. Especially with the way that I mean, Chicago, the Padres, and the Mets had a pretty decent, well, not decently, but you look at those teams and you're just like, I think that they're gonna be okay. And with the Reds, it's like Ellie still only has one home run in the the last 70 some games or something like that, which
Yeah.
is crazy. Uh, Over on the American League side, though, uh, the Mariners overtook the National League West, so we got to mention that first and why that's important
Yeah.
because if there's a tie at the end of the year with Houston and Cleveland, Cleveland gets the tiebreaker.
Ooh,
So
there you go.
it's the Cleveland's best interest that the Mariners continue to win and take that division. Uh, and right now we're in a series with Detroit. We won in a walk off, or not a walk off. We won in extra innings last night, and we are 2.5 games behind Boston right now
Yeah.
for that wild card spot. And Texas is right behind us at 3.5 games. Kansas City and Tampa Bay, they were, I think the last time we talked, just a couple games back. They are now 7 and 9 games. So they
Mm.
look like they're going to be out of the picture. As it stands right now, it is September 17th. The season ends September 30th. Less than 2 weeks away. It's going to be hard to make up 9 or 7 games at this point.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, we got Cleveland and Texas are the last two that are on the outside looking in that could have a shot. Cleveland plays Texas in the last series of the year. So
That could be interesting.
that's one that could be very interesting. That could be very entertaining to watch. And I'll just go ahead and say that what do we got coming up the rest of the year? Boston's in a series right now with the A's. They got to play the Rays, and they end the year with series against the Blue Jays, best team in the American League right now, and the Tigers, who are, of course, winning the American League Central. That's going to be a tough stretch right there for them to end the year.
Yeah.
Uh, on the Cleveland side, like I said, the last series is against Texas, but on the way down from there, we got series against the Twins. We got one more series at home against Detroit before we play the Rangers. So a little easier, but not easy in any way. And then I'll go to New York over here. I don't think they're going to fall out. They got to play the Twins, and they play the Orioles, and they play the White Sox, and they play the Orioles again. So they should be the one shoe-in,
Yeah.
you'd think.
I agree.
And then wrapping it up with the Astros, although it could be the Mariners that fall into this wild card slot. We'll see. But the Astros got a series with the Mariners. That's going to be very exciting.
Hmm.
Uh, the A's, the Angels. So it gets easier for them as the year goes
Yeah.
on. But there could be some significant movement depending on how that Mariners series goes.
Yeah, I agree.
Mariners the rest of the year. After that, Astro series, they got the Rockies, and then they got the Dodgers to end the year.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's just crazy with
This
baseball, man.
American League wildcard race is going to be down to the
Yeah.
wire, and I have no expectations of Cleveland winning any playoff games if they get there. But like I said before, I this is what Cleveland does all the time. They somehow sneak in after doing everything that they shouldn't do. Every
Mhm.
behavior that they've had shouldn't be rewarded with a playoff spot, but it looks like they could get it because we're
Yeah.
heating up again at the perfect moment. Our starting pitching's been absolutely insane lately.
Yeah, it's kind of the weird thing, I guess, in some senses. But yeah, I love baseball. I love football. It's the perfect time of the year. It's fall, it's coming around. It's perfect. Um, we just want to say again, thank you so much for listening, for watching. If you love watching on YouTube, click that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you love listening, make sure you let us know. Leave us. You now comment on Spotify, so go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us
Really,
know. Yeah, there's like a
that
comment
is
section
cool.
now. So yeah, let us comment. Let us know what's going on. And I guess the comment today this week would be: do you believe that this is the end of the Dabo era at Clemson? Let us know down below. That'll be interesting to hear. I'm sure my dad has a lovely take as well. So once again, thank you guys so much for listening, and until next time, we'll see ya.